Hey, how's it going? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, do that thing down below. I unexpectedly ended up with a Saturday afternoon that was free and all day Sunday. So I loaded up one of my bikes and took off. And I am in the Southern Sierras at around 9,000 feet. It is really nice and cool up here. And I found a nice little dispersed camping spot. And from what I can see, there's nobody else up here. And what's even better is I have this huge log here to use as a table and this one here to sit on, so I could make some dinner and breakfast there, which I'm really excited about. I thought this video would be a good one to talk about as far as being bear safe on your motorbike when you go camping on your bike, because I have seen quite a few people doing things that they really shouldn't be. People I've camped with and people I've seen out camping, and then also videos of people camping in areas where there are known to be bears. So really the first thing is, don't eat anywhere near your tent where you're going to be sleeping. Don't cook near your tent. Definitely don't have food in your tent, and don't cook right outside your tent, which I've seen quite a few people do. And I know that if it's raining and the weather's bad, not a great thing to do. It's best just to wait until the weather gets better, or have another place that you can go and grab a snack, but no food in the tent regardless. So, and I'm gonna snack on some chips here. So I've moved away from my tent, so if I drop any crumbs, they're gonna be out here and not where I'm sleeping. I probably should be across this meadow doing this, but hopefully I won't spill a lot of crumbs. But yeah, that's the first thing to consider, is no food in and around your tent. One of the things I do when I travel in bear country is, and I know I'm going to be in bear country, is I carry my food in this Ursack. It is a Kevlar sack that it's not going to obscure the smell of your foods, but because it's Kevlar, it will keep a bear from being able to get to your food. They will tear at this, bite at this, pull it, and it won't open up for them. And the important thing about this, and you can get more details on this, I'll leave a link for the Ursack. I think I got it on Amazon below. But you tie this around a tree, you pull the top of this tight, and I loop it around. Now I put carabiners on here. This probably is breaking the rules of the Ursack, but I loop it around and then just hook these carabiners to each other. And the carabiners themselves are rated at, I think, 1,000 pounds each. So it would take a lot of force to pull this Ursack off. And I think these cords are rated at 2,000 pounds each. Now I do that just as a precautionary thing. I used to carry a bear vault, a small bear vault, because I had some luggage. I had the Nelson rig, I don't remember what they were called, the Sierras maybe, and that would fit in there. But the luggage I have now, a bear vault doesn't work. And that's the same concept as with bear vaults, is it doesn't trap the smells in, it just makes sure that they can't get to it, the food that's inside, and then it'll frustrate them. Now the recommendation with Ursacks is that you use scent-proof bags. I haven't done that. I just use a dry bag, tuck all my stuff in there, and then when it's time to go to bed or when I'm done cooking, I will walk off somewhere and strap this around a tree really tightly, so that if a bear does decide to get to it, they're going to be pulling and pulling and pulling, and they're going to get frustrated and leave. And that's really the point of this. I think these have been rated for a number of national parks. I think the only ones it's not rated for may be Glacier and Yellowstone, but if you look up the ratings on these, you'll see that they are really good for bear protection and not allowing them to get to food. So that's what I do. What's nice about this is it's flexible, so it'll fit into my bags and I can mush it in there. So yeah, if you are in bear country, I recommend putting your food in one of these and just strapping it to a tree. It's a lot easier than trying to hang it, especially if you do dispersed camping like I'm doing tonight. There isn't any pre-existing rope lines between trees, because just tying it high up in a tree is not going to do anything. Bears can climb trees, so it's got to be suspended between. So I find this to be a lot easier than trying to suspend it. Some things I forgot to mention, things that I put in my Ursack when it's that time to go to bed, it's the end of the night, is I put my toiletry kit that has my deodorant, my toothbrush, soap, anything that's going to have smell goes in there. Any sunscreen that I have, anything I might have in my tank bag, the sunscreen, granola bars, any snacks, that has to go in there as well. I look through all of my stuff to make sure that I don't have anything with any smells to it, because I don't want to have any visitors. And you may be thinking, well, you'll just lock it up in your hard cases, and maybe that's worked, but I don't trust hard cases that the smell isn't going to come out, because you might think that about cars too, and bears can smell food in cars. So I would prefer not to have a 300 or 400 pound bear trying to pull my hard case off of my motorcycle and pulling it over in the middle of the night. So anything that has smell goes in the Ursack. I found out pretty late last night, well, late in the afternoon, that I was going to have an opportunity to go camping, which I hadn't anticipated. So I don't have camping food just on hand like I would want, and so I just grabbed stuff out of the house. So it's going to be top ramen tonight. I will not use the seasoning pack, as it was suggested and recommended to keep the sodium content down. And then I have some buffalo style chicken, and then some sriracha chili sauce. So all of these two things have a lot of smell to them. So I'm going to be very, very careful when I'm done with taking this stuff out, putting it in a bag, and then tightening that up pretty good, and then making sure that when I go to clean this, it gets put away pretty well, because there's a lot of smells here. So yeah, that's what dinner tonight is. Another thing you should do is, when you're done cooking and you go to clean out your pots, walk as far away from your campsite as you can. If you're dispersed camping, use your water to clean it out. Dig a hole, and then put anything that you're pouring out into the hole, and then bury that when you're done. And that way the smells from that are buried under the dirt in the ground, and it'd be a little bit harder to find. Not that bears can't smell that, but it's just it's an extra step to try to ensure that they're not going to be getting into things that they shouldn't be. Since we're out here, we're in their house, we're going to do everything we can to keep them from getting to people food. So that's something that I do, is I'll make an area that I can clean, dump, and then bury. So that's what I would recommend to help keep smells around your campsite down. In the mornings when I get up, I always like to look to see if my bag has been disturbed in any way, and it doesn't look like it has been. It's where I left it. So it gives me an indication if anything's messed with it, which I didn't hear anything last night, so I think it was fine. Some other things you can do if you're worried about bears coming into camp is play loud music if you're in a place where you're not going to be disturbing other people. In a dispersed area like I'm in right now, there's nobody else around, so if that was a concern of mine, I could easily turn on some music and have that going so that there's a continuous noise coming from here, which should be a deterrent. Now, I haven't had that many interactions with black bears, but when I have, they've always left, they've ran off, and I think that's typically what they do, but it depends on if a bear has been exposed to people food or not. So the other thing you can do is be ready to make noise. I know the typical thing is to bang pots and pans together. You can yell at the bear. That tends to also be a deterrent. I'm going to sit here and eat my pancakes. So I wanted to mention if there are any things that you all out there do as far as trying to keep bears out of your campsite, or any other tips that you might have, leave those in the comments below. If you don't like something that I do and you think maybe there's a better way of doing it, then please leave those in the comments below as well. This is just what I've been doing over the years. I've been camping by myself for probably close to 30 years. And I haven't had any issues. I've gotten much more diligent about keeping my campsite cleaned up, and now I'm eating close because I'm leaving today. So I'm not so concerned about that. But anyway, if you have any thoughts or ideas, leave those in the comments below, like I mentioned before. And I know there's going to be a couple things that come up with some of you regarding carrying firearms. I don't do that when I go camping. I used to a long time ago. But on the motorcycle, I don't like having to worry about where a firearm is on me, and I don't think that I'm ever going to use a firearm against a bear because I'm in their home and I've chose to come out here. It's my responsibility to make it as uninviting for them to come into my campsite as possible. So that's why I don't carry a firearm with me. One of the other things that I do in the morning is I will walk around the campsite and look in the dirt to see if I see any bear tracks. Last spring when I was riding the New Mexico Backcountry Discovery Route, a section of that, I did see bear tracks on top of my motorcycle tracks about, I don't know, 200 feet outside of my campsite. So it's always something to know is, did a bear come through and were they not interested because everything was put away? So I like to look at that as well. I can't get the lid off my syrup. Oh my goodness. Let me drop it in like that. I hope you found this useful, especially if you are getting started solo camping or you're going to be camping out where there are bears, which almost, I think every state has bears in it at some place. So just keep that in mind, and as the drought continues in at least the western part of the US, there's going to be less food sources for bears and they may become more aggressive and looking for whatever they can to eat. So keep that in mind as well. Thanks for watching. Get out, do some camping, do some riding, and I will see you out there. Oh man, that was stupid. Success. I don't know how I got it down. Oh my goodness. I'll do a test flight. The cover for the camera came off. That's amazing, I got it off.